Hello. In response to lots and lots of misconceptions in the latest round of SPACECAT analysis, I am going to clarify a few things so that hopefully I don't have to keep typing the same exact feedback over and over and over. So, first of all, SPACECAT, for your knowledge, you should know because you've watched a video about how to do it. It is a close reading tool to help you get to a rhetorical analysis. So when you do it for a journal entry or an assignment or discussion board post, however it is that I have you turn it in, you have to list SPACECAT. Do not write this as a narrative. Do not write it as a paragraph. You need to have each one of those letters written and answers to all of the questions that are on the handout in detail in full, complete sentences. You will not receive points for this anymore. If you don't do that, I will return it and make you redo it until you can get it right. So to help avoid the same issues I'm having beyond that, which is simply format, I am going to real quickly go through these pieces of information to help you consider the choices and the appeals. Most of the mistakes that I'm seeing are in the choices and the appeals. So first of all, you're never going to say the writer uses an appeal. The writer or the speaker, whoever it is you're analyzing, does not sit down and say, I'm going to use an ethical appeal today. No, what they do is they say, I need this audience to trust me in order to get them to do whatever it is I want them to do, or think or believe whatever it is I need them to do, to believe or think. And so to be persuasive, I'm going to need to get them to trust me. And then I will build an ethical appeal through the use of things like credentials, anecdotes, testimonial, humility, or awareness. So these things that are underneath this appeal right here are the rhetorical choices, so the second C, that build this particular appeal. These aren't the only things, but they are some of the things that you might mention. When you put choices down, you need to be sure that you're not just listing a rhetorical choice that you see in the text. It has to help either build an appeal or reveal the purpose. You know that any of these pieces we're looking at, you're trying to figure out what is the writer or speaker arguing. What are they trying to persuade someone else to do, think, feel, believe? Then you're going to say, how do they do that persuasion? How do they convince the audience? Well, they use rhetorical choices and they build appeals. They may even employ a certain type of tone or convey an attitude, which is tone, to get the audience to be persuaded to believe what it is that they want them to believe. So similarly, if you're building an emotional appeal, so you say to yourself, okay, I need this audience to feel emotional so they can connect with me and they can believe my argument. So if that's the truth, then I'm going to try and use these rhetorical choices. So connotative diction, anecdotes, personal ones probably, or emotional ones. Testimonial, humor, hyperbole. I might need to exaggerate. I might even need to do that to make people fearful. Fear is an emotion too. It's not just feeling like you need to cry. It could be laughing. It could be fear. It could be any kind of emotion. And figurative language and imagery are generally associated with emotional appeal as well. And then if you say to yourself, okay, well, I am a speaker and I need people to see that I have a clear message that I need them to believe, or a clear thing that I need them to do. So in order to persuade them, I'm going to make my message absolutely ironclad so that they have no choice but to believe me and act however it is I want them to act. So I'm going to use facts or statistics. I'm going to provide some recent and relative research. I'm going to make sure and share expert opinions on this particular subject. And I might even list evidence in order of importance, thus creating a catalog of evidence. I might use a compare-contrast scenario where I talk about, how my point is different than someone else's or the same as someone else's. I might even talk about things that make me look better in comparison to someone else or something else. And then finally, I haven't mentioned this one yet to everyone, but this is the fourth appeal is really not something that you make so much as it's something that you do in your speech or essay or whatever it is that you're writing or sharing in order to make your audience know that it is the right time and place for this argument. So kairos can be used interchangeably with the word time, or chronos, which is, part of the word chronological. So when a writer is really concerned with kairos, they are making sure that the context is such. So you've already done context if you've gotten this far in SPACECAT. The context is such that this is the right time and the right place for this argument, and we need to act now. Historical allusions can be used here to show historical precedents. And then finally, you can make an analogy to something that's happened before or some other piece of text that would reveal that it is the best time and place for this argument. So that is just a quick overview. You have resources available to you that are posted on your learning management system, whether that's Blackboard or Google Classroom or Moodle, whatever mode you're using for your particular class, such as the rhetorical devices with definitions. Those are cards that you can also use. Print them out if you have a printer. If not, you can just open the file, and it shows you a list of a bunch of different rhetorical choices. Devices and choices are the same thing. So if you're looking for what kinds of choices, then you can look at that list. Also, there is a slide about rhetorical appeals, which I'll share with you once again, that gives you an idea of how the appeals can be built. Now, Kairos is not on here because it is not targeting an audience, message, or speaker exactly. It actually deals with all three. So if anything, Kairos would go in the middle. But this particular slide is a good one for you to reference when you're talking about the appeals. Why would a writer make an appeal? Well, remember, if they're trying to get the audience to trust them, so in other words, focusing on themselves as the speaker, then you're going to have to think about that as the building of ethos. And then similarly, if you're trying to get the audience to have some sort of response or feel some type of way, that would be building pathos or an emotional appeal. And then finally, if you are presenting facts in order to have a clear, convincing message, then you're looking at building logos. Many writers build all three plus kairos to have a really, really effective piece of persuasive writing or speech, but not all of them will have that. So you just have, it really depends on what text you're looking at. This should help clear up some of the mistakes, and I don't expect to see the same ones over and over. If I do, I will definitely know that you have not watched this, and that's a shame, because it really will clear up a lot of the misconceptions and issues we're having with SPACECAT. Again, it is simply a rhetorical analysis tool, and you are expected to fill it out with detail so that you can treat it as pre-writing for your rhetorical analysis essay, which is upcoming.